Journey into Prehistory, Cesta do Pravaku, is a very classic 1955 sci-fi fantasy adventure film, somewhat inspired by Jules Verne, directed by that treasure of our species Karel Zeman. A phenomenal feat of film VFX for 1955, it is said to have been a smash success internationally with a particular popularity in New York City. That is extremely fascinating if so. A glorious spectacle as four boys travel back through time via a mysterious river flowing out of a cave. They find themselves initially adjacent to the Ice Age and then toward the Tertiary period, and then arriving at Precambrian times, eventually witnessing a vast ocean with which life itself is yet to emerge onto land. This would be Zeman's second feature film, and his first ever film to feature a combination of live-action actors and his characteristic, iconic, stop-motion animation. This film is also said to have been influential in its educational, visual, documentary-esque depiction of prehistoric animals such as dinosaurs, which prior to this point, in 1955, had predominantly been treated as beasts for the sake of horror fare, as far as cinema was concerned anyway. Here, watching simulations of extinct creatures operate in their natural habitat, undisturbed by anthropogenic intervention or some genre film screenplay, and with accompanied narration, it laid a potential foundation, a genesis for the speculative educational nature documentaries such as we'd see with Walking with Dinosaurs and Beasts many years later. That Walking with Beasts was so formative on me it is actually overpowering. I'd like to read out a mini biography of Karel Zeman submitted to IMDb by one Dimos I. Karel Zeman was a Czech film director, screenwriter, and animator. He is primarily remembered for creating fantasy and science fiction films which combined live action and animation. In 1910, Zeman was born in the village of Ostroma in Austria-Hungary. The village is located near the town of Nova Paca, whose main tourist attraction is an abandoned monastery of Minims. Zeman originally pursued a business education in the town of Colin. In the 1920s, he studied advertising in France. He remained in France until 1936, working at an advertising studio in Marseille. His first experience of animation was creating an animated advertisement for soap. In the late 1930s, Zeman returned to Czechoslovakia, where he continued working in advertising. He created advertisements for companies such as Bata and Tatra. In 1939, Zeman attempted to migrate to Casablanca to avoid the poor living conditions in the German-occupied protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia. He was soon barred from migrating. During World War II, Zeman became the advertising head of advertisement at Dumsluzeb in the city of Brno. He participated in a window dressing competition there, which he's won. Film director Elmar Kloss, 1910 to 1993, filmed a newsreel about the competition and became acquainted with Zeman. Kloss offered Zeman work at an animation studio located in Zlin. Zeman accepted the business proposal in 1943. Zeman started working as an assistant animator under veteran animator Hermina Tirlova, 1900 to 1993, who would eventually be nicknamed the mother of Czech animation. In 1945, Zeman became the head of the animation studio, stop-motion animation production group. He started work on his first short film, A Christmas Dream, which combined live action with puppet animation. The plot involved a dream about toys coming to life. I may have been mistaken when I stated that this film was the first project by Zeman to feature live action and stop motion. It certainly was the first feature, that's obvious to do so. Of Zeman's. In 1946, Zeman introduced a series of short films featuring a puppet called Mr. Prokop. The series gained a fan following. In 1948, Zeman completed the short film Inspiration as an experiment in using glass in animation productions. In 1950, Zeman completed a half-hour film called Král Lavra, King Lavra, an adaptation of a satirical poem by Karel Havlicek Borovsky, 1821 to 1856. The film depicted the legend of Labrid Longicek, High King of Ireland, and was met with critical success. Zeman won a national award with this film. In 1952, Zeman created his first feature film, The Treasure of Bird Island, adapting a Persian fairy tale. He used several experimental techniques in animation. His next film was Journey to the Beginning of Time, 1955, in which he animated many prehistoric animals. It was his first film to have an international release. Zeman worked on 8 other feature films between 1958 and 1980, as well as a large number of short films. He was one of Czechoslovakia's most famed animators. Zeman retired in 1980 at the age of 70. He'd been working as a director for 34 years at that point. He died of natural causes in April 1989, about 7 months before the Velvet Revolution and the fall of communism in Czechoslovakia. He was 78 years old. Zeman has been called one of the 20th century's most innovative and influential animators. He has been cited as an influence by, among others, Wes Anderson, Tim Burton, Terry Gilliam, and Jan Svankmajer. A lovely little film, wholly impressive and noble in its intent, Journey into Prehistory remains a delightful curiosity, or even an immense joy to potential viewers even today. Thank you everyone, I hope you are all well.